Hey everyone, it's Bradley Rosa with the Brad Bar Buzz, and I'm happy to have Joe and Dirk Stevens with us again from Law Firm Sites. Welcome.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Cool. So we were talking earlier off camera, and I'd mentioned blogging, and I've talked with a few people, and they've told me blogging is dead, it's old school, and it doesn't bring any value. So tell us why you think blogging might still be relevant.
I definitely feel like who would ever think that it's not relevant anymore? So there are definitely, things that you could be doing that are not good with blogging, or if you're putting out, information that's not relevant, it's not updated. Yes, that is bad blogging. There are good and bad ways to do things. But content in general is so important for a website, for information, for Google to rank you and show that you're constantly relevant and you are constantly updating and supplying your users and people that are coming to your site with new relevant content. That is what Google is crawling, and that is what they're looking for. So blogs are definitely still relevant. I would just say content in general is still relevant and extremely important. I mean, would you agree?
This is something that I, as we were saying, I talk about this on a daily basis with people of, do I need a blog? I don't want a blog. Maybe blogs are outdated or whatever. And I think maybe the term blogging is maybe outdated. It's kind of a, from 10, 15 years ago, everybody has a blog or you read a blog and it just looks like an old fashioned kind of Word document. But the tool that a blog does, especially the ones that we do, so when Google's deciding where they're going to rank you or where they're going to put you versus your competition, right? Obviously, the higher you are, the more clicks you're going to get. So when Google's putting everybody into their bowl and deciding this guy's going to be 1, this guy's going to be 2, this one guy's going to be 3, they want good, relevant, fresh content on a consistent basis. So that means you have to constantly be adding stuff to your site, and it's got to be good stuff, right? But you've got to constantly be adding stuff to your site for Google to go, oh, these guys know what they're doing. They're talking a lot about it. They seem to be knowledgeable. They've got good referrals. Where the blog is important, and I'll be honest, we don't even really call them blogs much anymore. We do sometimes, but we don't really use the word blog. We'll call it in the news or what's happening or what's new or something like that.
Yeah.
And the way that we set them up is you could post an episode of the podcast. You could post an article. You could post an upcoming event or whatever. You can post that on your blog. So Google sees that you posted good, relevant, fresh content on your website, which is going to get you ranked. But then that blog can distribute whatever you're sending to all of your social media accounts, to newsletter contacts, to whoever's in your distribution list, right? So the tool of the blog, I tell people, is super important, especially like if you're a super busy firm, you don't got a ton of time. How do I distribute all of my, you can throw it on your blog and the website will categorize it by date and by topic and by time so that it's searchable, which Google loves, searchable content.
Right.
And then that blog will shoot it out to your different social media accounts, and then everybody will get to
It's just making sure you're putting out the right content, the right things on your blogs. I think a lot of attorneys too, they view it, again, yes, it's negative or nobody's reading it. And sometimes that's true. One of the best things that you can do is you can answer questions. It's kind of an FAQ. Build your blog into more of an FAQ. Answer questions that the people are calling you and asking your firm and the information that they want to find out. Start answering those questions and be putting it on your website, whether it's in the blog, whether it's on an FAQ. That just builds your authority, your trust, and client education. And that's what people love. They are actually searching, big, long phrases, big, long terms that they want answers to before they hire an attorney. And so putting that content on your site, answering those questions, you're building that trust. So, excuse me, it's maybe just remove the word blog. I think that that's something that has a negative whatever on it. Some maybe
Maybe.
experienced. People think it's out.
Antediluvian.
Yeah, they think it's outdated. But
And I mean, to that point, I'll talk to people and they'll go, I want to do digital marketing, or I want to bring in more leads, or I want to expand my work, but I don't want to blog or anything like
Yeah.
that. And it's like, so we have to have these conversations of what's the problem with the blog, or is it just the idea of it? And then, we work at
I
it.
can give
We
you an
work at it from
example
there.
on our own website. One of the most visited pages on lawfirmsites.com is a blog that we wrote 10 years ago on what's the best, lawyer website design. What should a lawyer's website have? And that blog gets so many hits, and even to this day, we constantly go in and we update the content on it because we know that it's very searchable and that Google will rank us really high for it. So we go in and we update it constantly. And now I'm going to transition it, and I'm going to do a short form video content on it and put it on Law Firm Site social media, because obviously that's something that is raising awareness to people that they are searching for. So I'm going to take something from 10 years ago that people are still searching for, it's still getting hits, and I'm going to bring it into today, and I'm going to make a reel and put it on Instagram. So that's one of those, you build it, you push it past, bring it into today, right? And don't ever take blogs off your site, especially ones that are doing even a little bit well. Don't remove content.
When you say searchable, how do you make something searchable?
It's definitely putting in the correct keywords, and making sure that you're, again, answering those questions that people are searching for. Can I sue for emotional distress? That is something that somebody would literally type in that entire phrase. So that entire phrase should be in the blog and be searchable. That's what somebody's going to search for. So there's kind of short form keywords, long form keywords, which would be that really long sentence that somebody would put in. So ensuring that you have that in there, that back end is optimized. I won't go into too many details on that part of it, but just making sure that that's in there, but you don't have it in there too many times. You don't want to have that.
Same word or same.
You don't. That's
the
more
old
keyword
school.
stuffing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
And that's bad.
Google frowns on that.
And Google frowns on that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I want to circle back to what you had mentioned, Dirk, about your blog being able to basically be a major distribution
Yeah.
to all your other media outlets.
Yes.
So it's a tool that you all use?
Absolutely.
Quite a bit. We've got a layout of what a lawyer, or a legal firm website, the basics that you needed to have, and that's kind of how we structure our basic designs. And if there's any sort of portion of the firm that is like, I need to be more visible, maybe I want to bring in more leads, or maybe I want to hire new employees, I've got to make myself more searchable. So we'll put that blog on there. And like I said, we may not call it a blog. It may be an in the news or what's up next, or, whatever. And then we have I wouldn't say all of them. It's some people will only have, I've only got one social media account, or I've only got another, or I just want this going out to my current client's newsletter or whatever. And you can customize your distribution on that
And
blog.
automate a lot of it.
And
Yeah.
automate a lot of it. So all you've got to do is get the content that you're like, okay, it's edited, it's good, it's keyword, it's tagged, it's optimized. You stick it in one spot, and then the website does the rest for you.
Nice. And when people are content creating, blogging, what are the key things that they need to remember when they're doing this? There's certain things you have mentioned before, like being fresh and so forth. So what are some of those bullet points that people need to think about?
When we're talking to people or putting together content for people, because we do that as well, some people just don't have time to do it. She knows way more of the technical stuff than I do, but things that we focus on are, we try to keep it to your local geographic area. Google loves local people, so we definitely want to feel for that area that you're in. It's got to be relevant to your practice areas, right? Like, I mean, if you're an estate planning attorney, but you're doing PI content, Google's going to be like, well, wait a second, you guys don't really do PI. The other thing, and we've had this conversation quite a bit, is the content needs to be geared towards your audience, not geared towards you as the lawyer. sometimes
Reduce your legal jargon.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Think,
I'm like,
think
to put
about
that
who
in
you're
a-
talking to.
Yes.
I was talking to a
Makes
lady, this was last month, where she is right up on the Tennessee, Georgia border. She goes back and forth. And she goes, we can't have anything written over about her a 5th or a 6th grade level because just our area won't read it. Like that's just not something that they're interested in at all.
Wow.
So she's like,
very much knows her audience.
she very much knows
yeah.
her audience, and she's like, for my content, guys, this is exactly what I want, and this is how I want to do it. And it's something that I had always thought of, but just the way that she said it made it stick in my
Yeah.
head of, yeah, it's got to be geared towards the people that you want to be talking to.
Right.
So a lot of lawyers are super busy. They've got their practice, whether it's the lawyering part or just the business part. Marketing often is kind of like a second thought, and then they're like, oh, I got to get business, how to do. So they're going to lean on you all to create content for them. You're not lawyers, obviously.
Right.
So what's that process when someone's like, well, if we're going to create a blog,
Sure.
do it for me, guys.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how do you do that?
So, we kind of have an intake process where you have an onboarding call and we go over what their goals are and what they're actually looking for, what's your market, what's your target audience. And then you get to work with an SEO manager that's going to kind of help manage, hey, let's get this built the correct way. Let's make sure it's pushed out the correct way. And then, hey, these are the actual keywords and things that we think you should be pushing for and ranking for after the research. And then we have our legal content writers that write all of the content for them. They'll come up with whatever the topics are for that month and what we want to push out. And, then it gets sent to the client for approval, and 9 times out of 10, it's a thumbs up, and we get it posted for them, and then they don't have to think about it ever again. They can just take those leads in.
Cool. So you have
Answer the phone.
content writers.
We do.
people
We have
that
legal
are
content writers
skilled at
on
doing
staff.
that.
Yeah, that's all they do.
That's there are quite a few digital marketing firms that have content writers. I mean, that's not a new thing. I think that the thing where we are different, or the thing that I like, is our content writers only write legal content,
Yep.
right? So if you go to just maybe an at-large or maybe a different type of firm, it's like your content writer may be writing your legal stuff, and then the next day they may be writing for a car wash, and then the next day they're writing for somebody
Yeah,
who's
a
selling
med spa,
Etsy
yeah.
or whatever,
Yeah.
right?
So they're not honing their
They're,
expertise.
exactly.
Exactly.
So we,
Yeah.
we only have people that's all that they do is all law firm legal topics. And like she mentioned, you don't hit every single time. We may send you something, you may go, you know what, this doesn't really hit with my people, or hey, maybe that phrasing is wrong or whatever. Okay, let's edit it, let's get it back, and let's get it out. So it's a pretty smooth process.
Like it. So blogging, we'll call it blogging, but we'll use a different title when you're doing it out there. Blogging is not dead, and the value
100%.
it brings is, what is the value that it's really going to bring for lawyers?
It's going to get you noticed on Google, and it's going to increase your rankings, and that is what the goal is today, right? I mean, the main marketing, everybody is online, everybody is searching for you. That is the number one tool people are using to look you up. We're not in the yellow pages anymore, and Google wants you to have new, fresh, relevant content consistently. Right? So whether that's blogging, you can call it whatever you want, just be putting relevant, updated, new, helpful content on your site consistently.
So if someone's interested, a lawyer, in contacting you so that you can create that non-blog for them, how do they do that?
You can call us at 800-932-8242 or visit our website, which is lawfirmsites, sites.com. Or you're welcome to email Dirk or I directly, which both of our emails are just joe@lawfirmsites.com and dirk@lawfirmsites.com. Should probably spell your name though, D-I-R-K.
Yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, that's the nature of the business.
Well, thank you for visiting and educating us on blogging, and look forward to seeing you next time.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.